Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. The Knicks come back from 29 points down and they're one win away from NBA championship. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports for New York Nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go!
It's New York Minute Sports.
Eric, please, how do you feel right now?
I have not slept. I slept for like maybe 3 hours last night. That was a tale of two cities, 4 seasons, 72 seasons, whatever you want to call it. I felt every single emotion. I felt every single feel. Anger, absolute joy, rejection, hopelessness. We're going to take over the world. The New York Knicks and that game last night was one of the greatest sporting experiences I've ever had in my life. Period. Stop. 90s Yankees, Jets in the AFC Championship game, the wide right kick in the New York Giants, all the things in my life. The New York Rangers winning the Cup in 1994. Last night's game stacks up in the top 5 games I've ever seen in my life. And OG is a god. He is descended from heaven on us and blessed us. And last night, he comes out of absolutely nowhere. And that's why it feels like the New York Knicks are a team of destiny. And this city is on the brink of going full-blown New York nuts. And the city and MSG is up for grabs, and so is the NBA title. Mike, let's fucking go.
I mean,
Let's go, baby.
You couldn't have said it any better than that. I mean, the New York Knicks are at a point now being one game away, one simple, solitary game away from being NBA champions. And if this happens, you see what the city's doing already, and they're going to light it on fire. And a lot of that stuff is corny. We can get into all that throughout the video. But one thing I wanted to bring up before we start anything else, I wanted to get your opinion on the flagrant fouls that Wembanyama is committing throughout the series. You could argue that the 3 of them that he did commit already, out of the 3 of them that he committed already, last night's was probably the one that you could defend the most out of the 3. And the 3 that I'm talking about, obviously, is the Jalen Brunson one and the Jose Alvarado when he grabbed Alvarado across the neck. And then this one was probably the most basketball play out of the 3. What do you think about the flagrant fouls and Wembanyama being a dirtbag?
Last night on OG is a blatant, intentional foul. Now, it's going around the internet that he was going for his ACL. He wasn't going for his ACL. He was trying to stomp on his foot, okay? He probably knows something. He knows that OG has a history of hamstring problems, but that was deliberate, that was intentional, and that's what Wemby's doing. But we also need to live on planet Earth. He is the poster child of the NBA now. You saw what we went through for the last 20 years with LeBron James. Before that, it was Kobe Bryant. And they get the calls. Just like Derek Jeter in the batter's box used to get the strike calls in his favor, they're already giving it to Wemby. And this is why I was saying he's not crowned yet. He hasn't won anything yet. And he's getting hometown calls at 23 years of age. Now, I feel torn. I'm a 90s Knicks fan. I've been sitting here saying like I had diarrhea of the mouth. Basketball's too soft. It's not hard enough. So now if I get to the finals and now the Spurs are being too rough and too physical, I feel like a complete and utter phony bringing it up. But last night's foul is different because it's intent. The Brunson one, okay, boys being boys. I can see the other way on that one. Brunson was hugging him too. Last night, OG, that was to hurt the second best player on the court last night, arguably the first best player on the court last night, and hurt him and harm his career. These basketball guys, all we do is get on their case for being too buddy-buddy and being of the same cloth, and they make millions of dollars, and they're all in the same boys club. To a certain extent, these basketball players are supposed to take care of each other, okay? At the end of the day, you can be competitive. I played lacrosse at a very high level. You can be a very physical player, which I was, and be a sportsman. Won the Sportsmanship Award every year because guess what? You can play physical, and you can also be a good sportsmanship, and that's exactly what OG does.
Yeah. And the question, there's no wrong answer to this. Okay. There's absolutely no wrong answer to this. Did we get the benefit of the call last night from the elbow to the face of Towns? And do you think we get that call, which I heard on the radio today, they were discussing it. Do you think we get the Towns flagrant from Wembanyama last night if they had given Wemby the flagrant foul in game 3 against Brunson?
Maybe. Now, I think that Brown actually didn't do a good enough job of complaining. We've seen this before in the finals. Coaches, if they get really bad fouls called against them or they're getting no calls at all in game 3, what they will do, instead of complaining to the refs, they'll go to the podium. They'll go to the post-game interview, and they will complain about it there. And then indirectly, it does affect the game. Game 4 usually makes stars and is a decisive game in the series, and that's exactly what Game 4 was last night. You thought that the Knicks were going to get more makeup calls, and they didn't. It seemed like it was business as usual, and the calls have not been going the Knicks' way, and I'm not being a homer here. The Spurs have been getting the benefit of the doubt, but I think the biggest difference in this series right now, Mike, if you want to just boil it all down, keep all the players, Wemby, all aside, right? It's all about maturity. This whole series is about maturity, Mike. The New York Knicks and the Nova Knicks are more mature than the San Antonio Spurs, and they have not learned how to win yet. And Wemby, by the way, is acting like he's the crown champion of the NBA, and he's already playing dirty, and he's already a villain, and he keeps saying he's not as big as Trae Young from the Hawks. But guess what? Now you are, dude. You're trying to hurt Knicks players. Now you're a dirty POS in my eyes.
Now we'll go down the checklist of stuff. We'll just start from the beginning. Knicks have been getting off to, and this can't continue. I mean, through the next couple of games, if there is a couple more games, this can't continue. The Knicks have gotten off to some pretty hard starts in at least 3 out of the 4 of these games. I know game 1, they got off to a little bit of a better start, but they've been down double digits in every first half of this series. That can't continue anymore. I'm hoping, and I don't know if you saw the same thing, I'm hoping that they kind of unlocked now what San Antonio was doing to them during game 3 and then getting into the second half of game 4. I'm hoping that they bring the ball up less with Brunson because they've been banging him 94 feet from the inbound all the way up to midcourt, and it just was not working anymore. So the key, I think, the biggest key for game 5, if the Knicks are going to close it out, they can absolutely step on the throat of San Antonio and demoralize them more than they just did in game 4 if they get off to a really red-hot start in game 5.
See, I don't think it's the Knicks figured anything out last night. I think what happened was it wasn't an adjustment. It wasn't a defensive alignment. And I know that Brown changed the look with Grand Theft Alvarado and Jalen Brunson, which he had never done all season long so far. He does it last night. Secret sauce works out. Mike, what happened to this team, bro, is they were the January version of the Knicks for 7 quarters. They couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. They were 0 for 9 in the fourth quarter of game 3. They walk into this game, they're still shooting diggity dog shit, and the San Antonio Spurs go nuclear in the first 2 quarters. Now, it's almost like going up 3 goals to none in the NHL. They say that's more dangerous than an actual 2 to nothing lead. It's also like playing prevent defense in the second half of the game for the Spurs were doing. You only have so many bullets in your gun, okay? And the San Antonio Spurs unloaded the clip in the first half. Then they started playing prevent defense against the New York Knicks. They tried not to lose that game, and they didn't try to win it. One of the things that you can see that's blatant, go to the box score on ESPN, Mike. Go to the box score. This is the Spurs line, 41-35. That's quarter one, quarter two. Quarter three, 14 points. Quarter four, 16 points. Now, from my eyes, it wasn't like the Knicks were playing mad dog defense. The Spurs could not hit a single shot. Then they continued to shoot three-pointers last night. I'll take it all day.
I was dumbfounded watching them continue to chuck up three after three. I think on the post game they said 8 straight three-pointers they put up when they were up by 27 points. I mean, go back down to Wemby, go back down to the post, that will go drive to the basket. Exactly to the point that you made before, which was a young team, which Charles Barkley called dumb. I'm not going to go that far because coaching has to come into play at some point.
You know, this team is just dumb.
That's what he said, just flat out. And you just can't coach these young players to the point. That's where Fox has to come in at some point. But he was also contributing to chucking up the three-pointers, and they shot it in the first half. Un-San Antonio Spurs-like. They do not shoot the basketball like that.
And this is the thing. In the first half, it was a tale of two cities, 4 seasons. Like I said, terrible perimeter defense. They were the January Knicks in the first half. Terrible perimeter defense. Too Brunson reliant. When you guys sit around, and what did Brown say at the end of game 3? Everybody's sitting around staring at Brunson wait to create. The same shit drove me nuts when Carmelo Anthony was on the New York Knicks. He would get the ISO ball, and everyone would spread like cockroaches when the lights come on. The Spurs were hitting their shots at an incredible rate. What goes up must come down. It was not sustainable. Just like the New York Knicks, the way that they have been shooting with Mikal Bridges hitting 72% from the field, what goes up must come down.
Wemby, throughout the entire first half, and even if you look at the previous games, when they're winning by multiple, like double-digit points, this is a guy who's making stupid faces, taunting, pointing at his head last night was a great example. He told Mitchell Robinson, "I'm in your head, bro," or boy, whatever he said to him. And then, but this is why I'm so happy that the Knicks are the Knicks, because you got a leader like Brunson, focused, Josh Hart, focused, Anunoby, to get him to smile. You couldn't even get him to smile after he hit the tip in last night.
Yeah.
And then you look at like Wemby coming up with the turnover in game 2.
Yeah.
And then he comes up with a chance to put them up 3. And who's in whose head now when he clanks 2 free throws with a minute to go in the fourth quarter? This is why I'm just so appreciative of the team that Leon Rose put together.
Okay, everyone's got to stop blowing Wemby and think that the world revolves around this guy, because it don't yet. Okay, he needs to go to McDonald's to buy a couple of Big Macs, gain some weight. Missed 3 3-pointers in the last 7 minutes of the game last night. Misses 2 huge free throws last night. And also, at the end of the game now, in this series, he's had the ball in his hands twice. He's been now for 2 losses. He's been hovering around the 3-point line. If Wembanyama's in the paint last night, that OG tip does not go down. If you see that the Knicks are terrified, speaking of cockroaches spreading when you turn on the light, that's the Knicks. When they crash the hoop, they kick it out all the time. They act like there's a protector around the rim. And I get Wembanyama's big, but Grand Theft Alvarado has been attacking Wemby, and that's the way that you got to deal with him. You got to rush in, quick step back, and then get it over his fingertips, and that's exactly what Grand Theft Alvarado's doing. Did it with 2 3-pointers last night. Wemby, dude, if Wemby is under the basket, OG doesn't score that. Wemby has let 2 games slip out of his hands now. He was in the driver's seat, and you know what? He can point to his head all he wants. He can think that he's in the game all he wants. That is a scared little boy who's trying to hurt people, who's not winning, who's not being efficient. If this guy was playing his game and he was playing out of his mind, he wouldn't be trying to hurt other guys. The New York Knicks are in Wemby's head. The New York Knicks fans are in Wemby's head, okay? It's not the other way around.
A couple plays I wanted to run by you. The De'Aaron Fox steal, that really wasn't his steal. Were you surprised at the moment, or were you too into the moment?
Can we please break down the Fox thing?
Why in God's name are you going up for the bucket?
You know, it's so funny because I really like the way people consume things. Me and you watched the same exact game last night, and we could have 3 takeaways that we want. When I went on social media last night, everybody is talking about the Fox layup. The Fox layup. Why did he go up with the ball? Bro, it didn't even register in my head.
At the
In
time,
the
me neither.
moment, I didn't give. All I knew was the Knicks needed to get the ball back. They got the ball back, and now I'm worried about this. Okay, but then that's why I kind of waited to do a post game show on my YouTube channel, is because I wanted it to set in. I also wanted to hear about different things this morning because people have time to think about it. But dude, that Fox layup, the OG play is so reminiscent of LeBron James in the finals with that block against the backboard. And I've even said to you about a year ago when we were talking the Knicks on this show that somebody needs to tell OG he's a very good basketball player. He needs to be more assertive, and he's the same size as LeBron James. And he has the same ability as LeBron James. This guy is so good. The block against the backboard, and then he comes down. And Wendy was saying on ESPN last night, he goes, they could make 2 statues. The block against the backboard from OG and the tip-in from OG, both with the same guy.
The next play I wanted to talk about, obviously, is the OG tip. At the time, you don't get, and this is why I was hearing a couple people on WFAN, if I might add, saying how awful of a shot that was for Brunson to take. A couple of points here for people who are just not aware of basketball and how things work. Brunson pulled Wembanyama out so far to the three-point line by taking a three-pointer that we've seen Brunson make a lot in his Knicks career. It was 30 feet away from the basket, put it over Wemby's head, and took him completely out of the paint. Number 2, and this is why Brunson is calculated and is a smart player. He takes the shot with 3 seconds left instead of waiting to get down to have the last shot, giving OG the opportunity to crash the board and either get an offensive rebound or the putback that we saw. It's calculated shots. Brunson didn't just chuck up a 3 just to be the hero. This was done purposely. What did you think about that shot?
You're exactly right. I did not like the shot selection from where it was on the court, but now after you say that, I do understand it, because what Brunson did was, this is how intelligent a player Brunson is. If you noticed in game 1, the Spurs at the end of the game, they took too long to shoot that three-pointer. What they should have done when they had 9 seconds on the clock in game 1, they took about 6 seconds off the clock to shoot that 3. They had no time left. What you do with 9 to 7 seconds left in a basketball game is you immediately take the three-point shot. You want to get that shot up within 1.5 to 2 seconds. You get it up so you can get a foul under the net, a tip-in, and Mike is exactly 100% right. They keep taking Wemby out into deep waters. It makes a little bit of sense for Wemby to be out on Brunson, but that's stupid. If Wemby's under that basket, the Spurs take the lead in this series. If the Spurs take a quick shot in game 1 like Brunson did last night, the Spurs might have already won this series. So, yes, this is what it shows with the New York Knicks. The whole team is intelligent. The whole team is basketball savvy. And when you have a team like that, they can take advantage of it in pressure situation because they're not thinking, they're just doing.
Yeah. And going back, I mean, I don't want to go too much into the referees, obviously.
But Fox, hold on, before we get into the refs, and which we will, but Fox was throwing balls all over the place. I have a note here. Did Fox have money on the game?
That's what everybody thinks.
Bro, no, because this is the thing. I didn't realize how egregious it was until I watched replays until 6 a.m. Okay? I watched the tip-in about 122 times last night. I watched Game 2 Spurs-Knicks from 99. I was going down the rabbit hole last night. But Fox throws the ball away. Fox comes down was he trying to be the hero last night? In his post-game press conference, he just goes, I was trying to make the layup to go up by 3. if he goes to the basket, doesn't go for the layup, draws it out to three-point land, takes another 4 seconds off the clock, gets a foul. Now you can hit 2 3-pointers. Now you're giving the Knicks 1.3 seconds, and they got to inbounds it from the other side of the fucking thing. So Fox fucked their team last night.
You sure did. And it's something that team has been bitten with a lot. And you saw in the first half, they played flawless basketball. They turned those guards, as good as Castle is, and I would love to have Castle on the New York Knicks for the next 10 years. Trust me. Vassell's a good player. Fox is a good veteran. They don't have the true point guard. And those guys are really those guys have turned the ball over a lot in the postseason. They didn't do it in the first half. And then it completely flipped in the second half. No threes, more turnovers, complete opposite of what they did in the first half. Castle got into early foul trouble, which was a very underrated part of this game in the third quarter. With 10 minutes to go, he got his fourth foul. He had to come out. This is one more point I want to make on Wembanyama and the coaching. I think this is where Mitch Johnson's going to have to learn, and they're going to have to get more around Wembanyama in the future. He can't play 44 minutes a night. He's been playing 44, 43, 46. He can't play that many minutes. And I don't know if it was a war of attrition for him in the fourth quarter where he went 2 for his last 11 from the field, couldn't seem to get anything going. You bring in Cornette, and then you hear Legler on the broadcast go, this is going to be an important 3 to 4 minutes for the Spurs to maintain the lead. And then he checks back in 58 seconds later, and Legler's laughing, saying, well, that was a pretty good break.
Yeah,
you can't play that many minutes.
And but dude, the coaching is lacking. A young, inexperienced head coach, young, inexperienced team, and you can see it all over the place, man. Like, the Spurs have defeated themselves in multiple spots. And you can tell it's like the Spurs are a puppy running around your house that really doesn't know how to run yet. And it's like, once this thing gets to full size, it's going to be an animal. And then they're going to add another piece, a complementary piece with Wemby. Also, yeah, Castle is hey, listen, man, I love Harper. Harper is
He's good. He's going to be a good player.
Bro, guy can jump out of the building. The guy is tough as nails. I thought it was Derek Harper's kid. It's Ron Harper's kid, which makes it even crazier because Ron Harper was a lockdown defenseman who would score 4 points. He was kind of like Ron Harper. His old man was a little like Hart plays the game, where he can hit you that spot up three, but he's just a bulldog on defense. And you know what, Lan? It switches every night. The first 2 games, Karl-Anthony Towns was the MVP of this. Now they're saying OG, after last night's game, is going to be the MVP of the series. I think what they need to do, and I meant to tell you this because we didn't get to talk about Game 3. I think what the Knicks' problem was in the middle of the third period in Game 3 is that Brunson got frustrated and tried to win the game by himself. If you notice, with 9 minutes left, Brunson's at half court. Brown goes like this to wave him off. He waves Brown off. He continues to play for another 3 minutes. Sometimes I think Brunson's ego is not his amigo, and I know he's a driven guy, but you got to keep those legs fresh, dude. Brunson's the opener. Karl-Anthony Towns is the engine of this Mack truck, okay? And OG is the little Nas at the top, okay? We're all family here. And then you bring Brunson back in to be the Mariano Rivera and close the game out at the end of the game. That's the formula that you need to follow. Also, you know what? I was getting a lot of text messages about Mitchell Robinson last night. Guy's playing with a broken finger. That dude has been there for everything. He gets a complete lifetime pass. Him and Aaron Judge on the Yankees get a full lifetime pass. I don't care what they do from now on. Mitch was with us since day one. If you want to talk about a guy through sheer determination, work ethic, and mentality, he has made himself into a very good basketball player, and he's been indispensable. Him and OG, bro. And you know, Mike watches this team every single night. OG has been an absolute godsend, and that's when this franchise became different. I know everyone wants to talk about the Brunson acquisition, giving him money, stealing him from the Mavericks. That's sexy. I get it. Getting Hart from the Trailblazers, savvy move. No, OG is unbelievable.
So Game 5, Saturday night, 2 days off, going back to San Antonio. This is going to go one of two ways. As of San Antonio right now is a 5.5 point favorite. It's a pretty heavy favorite for a team down 3-1, but heading back home. Vegas has been pretty consistent with how they feel about this series. They favored San Antonio in the majority of the games, and when the Knicks are home, they're slight favorites, so which shows you how much respect they have.
Yeah, that's
But-
a pick 'em. They were a 2-point favorite on game 3. Do you know what they were last night? I didn't even look.
2.5. It stopped at 2.5.
So that's a
to start.
pick 'em theoretically. If you give a team 2 points with home field advantage, that's a toss up.
Yeah. So Spurs are back to being sort of heavy favorites at 5.5. How do you feel heading into game 5? It's going to go one of two ways. The Spurs are definitely going to come out with probably some intensity, or they're going to be tight. Their backs are against the wall. They are not. And I will promise you this. They will not shoot 70% from 3 again in the first half. So they're going to have to figure out other ways to take a big lead on the Knicks in game 5.
Knicks in 6, baby. That's exactly what we said. I think the Knicks lose the next game. Don't want to see them. I'd love to see them win, obviously. But guys, after all the years, think about this. The New York Rangers win the cup in Vancouver. Just don't have the same sexy appeal after the long layoff of no World Series wins. 1996 in the Bronx. Wade Boggs riding a horse around talking about his dead mother. Charlie Hayes with tears running out of his eyes. Now, it's the New York Knicks' turn. Now I'm starting to see a pattern here. When big 50-year records fall, like the New York Rangers, now it's the New York Knicks' time. Game 6 in MSG, all the feels, all the vibes. I think that's when the New York Knicks are going to win the NBA championship.